This is the Diplomat program. The Diplomat is a program that airs on KBC English Service and KBC Digital. And today we are being hosted by His Excellency Abderrazzak Lassel, who is the Moroccan ambassador to Kenya, and want to focus on diplomacy and how does Kenya relate to other countries. That is the aim of this program. Welcome, Your Excellency Abderrazzak Lassel, the Moroccan ambassador to Kenya.
Thank you for your invitation, and welcome to the Moroccan house.
Thank you.
And of course, I'm enjoying my stay in Kenya since I'm here almost 1 year. So
thank you. Yeah, before we commence, I'll just want you to tell me about yourself as the ambassador to Kenya. Tell me your story, where you come from, for example, in Morocco.
I come from the southern part of Morocco, from Rissani, and I was born in Meknes, and I grown up in Rabat. So I should say that I'm a genuine Moroccan that have been everywhere in Morocco. I started my diplomatic career in 1986. And I worked mainly in multilateral field.
That is 36 years ago, 1986. Long time in diplomacy.
Yes. And my career was only mostly on multilateral field, since I have served in Vienna, Geneva, New York, and back to New York. And this is my first experience in bilateral field. Also, this is mixed here in Kenya between multilateral and bilateral, but bilateral I'm just learning.
For the viewer or listener out there, probably you can talk about, when you talk about bilateral relations and multilateral relations, what do you mean exactly?
Multilateral relations is that when you are working with in the UN or in international organizations. And bilateral is relations between two countries, like what we are doing now in Kenya. In fact, I'm accredited not only in Kenya, but also in South Sudan.
Okay, so Kenya and South Sudan, you are representing Morocco in Kenya and also in South Sudan.
In South Sudan, yes.
Yeah, now let's focus on Kenya and Morocco. Specifically, we know that Morocco and Kenya are in the African Union. Apart from that, what makes Morocco and Kenya tick?
You know, the relations, the bilateral relations between Morocco and Kenya started officially in 1965. And our embassy was opened here in Nairobi in 1993, last century.
Yes.
And since then we have relations that are we can say smooth sometimes, difficult some other times, but now it's because of politics. But I believe that Morocco and Kenya are two big countries in their respective regions, in the north and in the eastern part of Kenya, of the continent. And for that, we need to work together for the benefit of our two people first, and also for the benefit of the African citizens.
Yes.
You know, the Moroccan policy is focused on Africa. Is why our Ministry of Foreign Affairs is called Ministry of Foreign Affairs, African Cooperation and Moroccan Diaspora. So means that the focus on our diplomacy is the African citizens.
So you've given Africa the prominence that it deserves, I think.
Yes, this is what we are doing, and we have a lot of cooperation with African countries. Because Morocco is the first African investors in Africa. So it means that we are focused on the cooperation and South-South cooperation, and also we are trying to promote triangular cooperation, means that bring the relations that we have with Occident to Africa and vice versa, and bring.
So because you said that Morocco opened its first embassy in Nairobi in 1993. Why did it take a lot of time before opening that embassy in 1993?
You know that
From the 60s.
Yeah, this is an economic issue. You know that an embassy, the cost of an embassy is very high, and it depending of the economic situation, and it was not political at all.
So apart from that, then before we go to other issues, I've seen the photo of our first president, Jomo Kenyatta, somewhere within the Moroccan house, and also the king, the current king. So for those who might not know, kindly tell us the structure of governance of Morocco, so that people in Africa and people in Kenya can understand how Morocco is governed.
Yeah, you know, the Kingdom of Morocco is a monarchy. It's been ruled by His Majesty the King Mohammed VI, and the photo you saw is the father of the Mohammed VI is Hassan II, the late king.
Yes.
And so we have a head of government, and also the members of the government. We have a multi-party system in Morocco, and the party who win the elections during the for the parliament is the one from where the king chooses the head of government, and the head of government form his government, and it is being endorsed by His Majesty the King. This is how Morocco is ruled, and this is a democracy. We have I don't know the exact number of the political parties in the country, but now the government
so
is
it's a multi-party democracy.
Yes. But now the government is formed by three parties who won the elections last September.
Is it a coalition?
Yes, it's a coalition between the RNI, Istiqlal, and PAM.
So what is the specific role of the king?
The king is the head of state. He's ruling the country with the assistance of the head of government and the members of the government, and he's the head of our army and like every head of state in the world, and he's also kind of how can I say, the balancing the power between the ruling parties.
Yes. So when we talk about government to government, because in Kenya there is a president who heads a government. We don't have like a king, for example. That happened in the 60s and going backwards because of the colonization that was in Kenya then, and we were being ruled by the head of state of the UK, for example. For example, the late Queen Elizabeth ruled Kenya. But apart from that history, what is the relationship currently between the Kenyan government and the Moroccan government?
The relations are good. We should say that we are now trying to uplift our bilateral relations to a strategic partnership between the two countries, because we noticed that we are complementary in our economies, and we can work together for many issues. For instance, we have very good experience to share with Kenya.
Yes.
But we have also things to learn from Kenya, and I think that this strategic partnership is based on that, because there are things that we can bring here, our experience in agriculture, in tourism, in housing, affordable housing, in renewable energy, in healthcare, many things. But we need also to learn from Kenya how to run the ICT technology and how to work with other countries in the region, because we know that the importance of Kenya as I should say, a door to the eastern part of Africa. So
before we go further, because I'll want you to tell us about the agricultural production in Morocco, for example, because I know Morocco is very, very successful in that. I just want you to tell us whether the viewer, if Kenya has an embassy in Morocco.
No, this is one of the things that should happen very quickly because, Rabat is one of the biggest capital in the continent. According to the number of embassies opened in Rabat is 130. And Kenya, as a big country, we don't really explain why it doesn't have an embassy.
And why do you think so?
No, I think it will come very soon,
yes.
Because now with the new administration, they are very keen to work with Morocco and to strengthen the bilateral relations with Morocco. I think that the opening of the embassy is just a question of time.
Obviously, that is a challenge to the new president,
yes.
His Excellency William Ruto, to ensure that at least we have an embassy in Rabat, Morocco.
Yes.
Rabat being the capital, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you talk about, you mentioned something about agriculture, and agriculture is very important to this country and obviously any country, because without agriculture, people can't be healthy, because people need to eat so that they can be healthy and they can work. Despite Morocco being in a very dry area, specifically Sahara Desert, what has made Morocco a very successful nation in terms of agricultural productivity? What strategies have been put in place to ensure that Morocco does well in terms of agricultural productivity?
We are facing the same challenges like Kenya in terms of drought and scarcity of water. But we started our policy on water in early 60s last century. Now we have about 114 dams in Morocco.
And big ones, I guess.
Big ones,
yes.
And small ones and hills ones.
Yes.
So, but this is one of the issues that we tackled thanks to the vision of His Majesty, the late King Hassan II, in the 60s. So it means that we were aware about the difficulties to get water, and then we had a policy, an agricultural policy, which is very successful because we are exporting our products, agricultural products to many countries in Europe and of course in Africa. And this is something that we, as I said, we can share with Kenya, our policy on watering the trees and vegetables by drops or also by nano watering. So these techniques are used in Morocco since many years, and now it is being successful to manage the water that is in the country. And just to give you an example, we have now we can grow tomato, which is which needs a lot of water. We can grow it in Dakhla, in the desert, and it's working very well. So it's these things that we can.
Are you using greenhouses?
Yes. We're using greenhouses where and also there is another thing that we can also share with Kenya. It's our fishing policy and fishing management, which is something that that Morocco is one of the first exporters of fish to the foreign countries.
Yeah, there's something very unique about many African countries. When we talk about agricultural productivity, then you hear about subsidies, that farmers are supposed to be given subsidies so that they are able to do this particular farming. Do you think this is a good thing in Africa in terms of subsidizing things or farm inputs, for example, for farmers? Is it something that is workable? Have you done it in Morocco? Is it something that can be adopted here in Kenya?
No, I think subsidies, now if you go to the rules of WTO, it's
Yes.
something which is not very accepted by the rules. And so we are not doing this, but in fact what we are doing is just to subsidize, for instance, the fertilizers used by the farmers, and also subsidize the installations, you know, the infrastructure that is given to farmers to try to grow their crops. And these things that we are doing this in Morocco, and I think it should be done also here. And you may have heard that Morocco has sold subsidized fertilizers to the Kenyan farmers through a government-to-government agreement. So it's
So when you talk about, we talk about farm inputs, one of the farm input is fertilizer. And you are among the largest producers of fertilizer in the world. Let's say Africa and the world. What is the secret behind this?
Because we have the products in our country, where we have the largest reserves of phosphate in Morocco, and we developed this technology for years now, and now we are, among the 5 top producers in the world.
Your Excellency, let's move forward. When we talk about bilateral relations, we know that countries help each other in one way or another. And there's one way that you can really help Kenya. And this one way is through the technologies that you're using in Morocco in terms of energy production, and that is solar. You are also among the largest users of clean energy in terms of solar. Tell me, what inspired the country, Morocco, to utilize solar energy?
You know, we are not an oil country. We don't produce oil. We don't produce gas. So we need to look. We need to look to the renewable energies too. And also, you may know that Morocco, since it hosted the COP22 in 2016, is a champion for environment. And for that, we were looking for to supply the oil energy or fossil energy by renewable energy. And for that, since we have a lot of sun in Morocco, we are using this.
Well, natural resource.
Yes, we are using the sun,
Yes.
but we are also using the hydraulic energy from the dams, and also using the wind energy because of our geographical position.
So wait, you're utilizing the dams for agriculture and also for
energy, yes, for hydraulic energy,
Yes.
and also we have the wind energy. So now the part of energy produced in Morocco from renewable energy is around 43%, and we are expecting in 2030 to reach the rate of 55% of renewable energy.
And that is a big leap. Do you expect to reach there?
Yes, we are trying to.
Let me take you back, because you mentioned something about the dams. You see, the dams need a lot of water, and Morocco is in a desert. Maybe for the viewer or for the listener out there. So where do you get this water? Because the dams also need a lot of water.
Yeah, of course. We have, the geography in Morocco is very diverse. We have mountains, we have hills, we have many different geography in the country. And when it is snowing, after the snow is melted into the dams, so just to spare the water,
yeah, that's a technology
the
that
rain
we
and
need to
the
see
snow.
physically, is it?
Yes, sure.
My producer there is watching me, and I'm hoping is also listening
Yeah.
about that. We need to see that physically.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So continue kindly.
Yeah, this is where the water is coming from, and is being spared in the dams. So this is a very good policy for that was, as I said, started in early 60s last century. So means now the technology is there and it's working very well.
Yeah, for Kenya, we are utilizing electricity, and we are utilizing also the Olkaria geothermal plant in terms of utilization of clean energy. But in terms of support, what kind of support can Morocco give to Kenya to ensure that we also use clean energy and also renewable energy?
Yeah, this is one of the fields where we need to cooperate with Kenya to bring the knowledge of Morocco and the know-how to Kenya, and to help Kenyans to use the solar energy. This is one of the fields that we need to work on.
Yeah, how?
You know, the technology is now there.
Yes.
for and available for everyone. But what is needed in Kenya, I think, is the know-how and the capacity building of the engineers of the Kenyan people to plant these small things. We have this experience. We did it in other countries in the continent, that we put just small plants for a quarter or for a city, or and that's it. But we can do the same here in Kenya.
Yes. In terms of climate change, you know, it is a very important issue to talk about. And you know, there are some developed countries that are not using clean energy. For example, there are some countries that are utilizing coal. Coal is very bad to the environment. It pollutes the environment in a very bad way. But we have COP27 in Egypt. You remember there was the COP22, I think it was held in Morocco.
Marrakesh, yes.
Marrakesh, Morocco. So what message will Morocco take to COP27 in Egypt in terms of issues to do with climate change, and ensuring that also the developed countries, especially the developed countries, reduce the emissions?
You know, as I said, Morocco is one of the champions for the protection of the environment, and since COP22 in 2016, there was an initiative taken by His Majesty the King in person about the integration of African continent on the issue of the environment protection. We have in Morocco a foundation, Mohammed VI, headed by Her Highness, the sister of the King, Lalla Hasna. And this means that the importance that is given by Morocco to the protection of the environment. And the message that we are going to bring to COP27 will not differentiate from that. That we need a collective responsibility to respond. We should drop the politics about this issue of climate change, because now everyone is aware about that.
There and is no affecting everybody.
It's affecting everybody.
Yes.
So everybody has to get into the work and trying to reduce to reduce the temperature by at least 2 degrees.
Yes, so, yes. And that will be very important, not only to Morocco, not only to Africa, but the whole world. Yes. Let's focus on, because we're almost winding up because of time. I really wish we had more time, but we don't have a lot of time, especially in radio and TV. When we talk about the bilateral relations, of course, you define bilateral relations and what it means. It's about relations between a country and another, or state to state, or government to government relations. So when you talk about opportunities, I know there are opportunities for investments in Kenya, as there are other investment opportunities in Morocco. So what investment opportunities can Morocco offer to Kenya, and vice versa?
You know, I would define the bilateral relations as an exchange of interests between two countries.
Yes.
Each country has its own interest, and of course, the exchange of interest define the kind of bilateral relations that should be. So, investments, as I said, that we have some experience in many issues that we can bring to Kenya, but also there are things that Kenya can bring to Morocco, and this is and if we take the citizen at the center of this bilateral relations, I think we will succeed on that, and this is exactly what is the vision of His Majesty for the African continent. Just think about the citizen, for instance, for the farmer, for the producer, for the persons. And this will strengthen the relations between states. This is not specific to Morocco and Kenya, but this is how the bilateral relations should go. And don't hamper my interest, I don't hamper your interest, and let's work for our collective interest. This is something that should go in this way.
But there are opportunities.
There are.
Yes.
A lot of opportunities, both sides.
Okay. Finally, because it's very important for Africa, you talked about the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Affairs and African Affairs.
African cooperation.
Cooperation, yes. So, in terms of strengthening the African Union, the member states, what do you think should be done to ensure that the African Union becomes stronger? When the African Union becomes stronger, for example, there'll be more trade between countries, and there'll be more exchange programs within countries. So what do we need to do to ensure that we strengthen relations within Africa through the African Union?
You know, African Union can be stronger if it gets rid of its mistakes of the past. This is the first thing that it should be done, because African Union cannot harbor a group of terrorists saying that they are member and claiming for self-determination. I'm talking about this entity that is in there that should be expelled from the African Union. This is the first thing, in order to avoid the divisions within the Union. This is one thing. And the second thing, Morocco has been working very hard with many African partners to advance the CFTA. And CFTA is in force since this is the African Free Zone Trade Agreement.
Yes.
And it has been, it entered into force in 2021, but still not operationalized. Why? We don't understand.
Still not working.
Not working.
Yes.
And this is one of the tools to strengthen the trade among Africans. Another issue that should be tackled by the African Union is to facilitate the transfer among African countries, because now there are difficulties and the transfer rate is very high, which is hampering a little cooperation between the African countries and trade between the African countries. So these are the issues that could be done in this matter.
Yes. And finally, I'll ask you the question off mic later about another. There's a very important issue I'll ask you, but not during this conversation. Okay. But what do you think Kenya and Morocco should do to strengthen even more the collaboration that they have as states?
Yeah, I think the exchange of visits, to know each other better than what is in now, will strengthen these relations and will facilitate the understanding of each other.
Yeah. Thank you very much,
Thank
Excellency,
you.
for your time.
Thank you very much.
And I've really enjoyed the conversation it's about Africa, and it's about our two countries, our two states, that is Morocco and Kenya. And that is the end of our conversation of The Diplomat. The Diplomat is a program that focuses on relations between countries. And today we are focusing on Kenya and Morocco. And we were lucky enough to have His Excellency Abderrazzak Lassel, who is the Moroccan ambassador to Kenya. And today we focused on the relations between Kenya and Morocco. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your time and speaking to KBC.
Thank you, and
thank
you to KBC for hosting me.
Asante
and
sana.
Welcome, Karibu.
And thank you for the great
Karibu
breakfast at the Moroccan house.
Yeah,
thank you. Asante.